without a sound engineer. So, welcome to everybody. My name is Andre de Toy. We are live. I am the big positive guy. Alroy, you're an amazing young man, and that video brought back such amazing memories for me. Just seeing some of the things that you've done and also some of your modern exploits. A good reminder for you?
Andre, definitely good reminder for me. And I think that what made it so more special for me was with some of the individuals that's with me in that photographs. It's people that I always look up to, that inspires me. And I think you mentioned there's Remy as well. And Remy is, for me personally, me and Remy don't speak every day, but an awesome inspiration for the goals that she's doing and the mountains that she's all being summiting. So that's really it.
A wonderful young lady of climbing the 7 highest peaks. Online to be the youngest person to climb the 7 peaks. In fact, she was 3 weeks away from climbing Everest when the lockdown happened.
That's cool.
And interestingly enough, Alroy, she also suffers from depression and anxiety. And that's going to be one of the themes that we speak about tonight.
Definitely, Andre. And I think it's something that most of us deal with. But as you said, depression is not me. It's the Elroy Dixon story. And for me, it is, I feel that so many people need to hear the story, because I think everybody look at the accolades and they think everything is smooth sailing. But I would like to give them a deeper side of me as well this evening.
What a lot of people don't know is that you and I have been friends for a while. You recently completed, and I think it was about a year ago, you completed the high impact public speaking course with me to get yourself onto the stage. But you and I have known each other before, and you've actually featured on my radio show in the past as one of my guests, as an absolute fitness guru. And you're not only a fitness guru, but you're an actor, you're a model, you're a father, you're a husband, you're a speaker, you're many things to many people. And besides that, you're also a bit of what the girls used to call eye candy. And so I still treasure that photograph in the studio when you and I were both flashing our abs. You just had more abs than I had. I had one.
Yes.
And you had about 8. So it's still one of my treasured photographs.
Yours was on winter and mine was on summertime, I think.
Still one of my treasured possessions. But Alroy, it's such a pleasure to be in conversation with you. Don't you just want to tell me a little bit about the young Alroy, the things that influence you, the things that have brought you to this point?
Andre, I think throughout my life, and I think to many other people out there as well, there's different things that happen throughout our lives that mold us and sculpt us into individuals that we become at the end of the day. I do come from a family of 5 with a mom and a dad. They're still happily married, 39 years this year. And then I have an older brother, and then I have a younger sister. And being the middle child, you always felt that you have to prove yourself. You have to respect the older one, but also you have to give some leadership role for the younger one as well. To be honest, my dad has a drinking problem, which I didn't realize as a youngster normally. But one day I made a little drawing for the school, and as you know, at school they ask you to do drawings, and I drew this where my dad was chilling with his friends and having a drink, and the teacher called my mom in and like, whoa, what is this? And she had to explain. And so and that is how time went on. But my love for sport, where I am today, normally my older brother participated in sports a lot, and I always looked up to him, and I always wanted to pursue the same type of goals and many things that he couldn't achieve in life. I think there's so many people that are going through life as well. My brother became a dad at a really young age, which affected me. He was 15 years old, and I was 10 years old. And that, so this, when that stage of my life happened, it actually pushed me to put certain goals in place for myself, unknowingly, that it's going to take me to where I am today. So I went on to high school. I played rugby, I did athletics, got a good scholarship, I had a bursary. And on high school, I just started excelling and being ranked 3rd and 4th in South Africa, which was really an awesome feeling for me.
Yeah, I think one of the things that it's quite interesting for me, and there's some very incredible studies, is that you are the typical young man in Cape Town who grows up in the environment where there is alcohol,
Mm.
where there is things like drugs and where there is things like teenage pregnancy.
Correct.
And very often you can fall into one way or you can go the other way. Thank heavens and whoever made the thing, but you went the other way. And it's almost like one of those things, it's almost like a personal decision.
Yes.
Why didn't you just follow the normal? What stopped you from doing it? I know you were a very good athlete. Was that part of it
Yeah.
that sort of dragged you out of it?
Andre, I would say I think some of it that some of the being an athlete was part of it. Like having discipline, going to training. Like you said, I grew up in the northern suburbs of Cape Town. I would say in a gang-ridden area as well. It wasn't that hectic then, but it's even more hectic now. Fortunately for me, I moved out of there. But you have to make decisions that what is best for me. And I always believe somewhere in our heads we have that little voice that's telling you this is not the right thing that you're doing, or this is the right thing. And to be honest, yes, I sometimes bunk school as well. But the funny part is I would bunk school and I still end up going in the afternoon to athletics coaching and then coming back home and making sure that I get all my homework for my friends and still finish that up as well. So how did that help me is because just 3 weeks ago, I was the funeral of I'd say a close friend, but our paths really started separating also in 2009 side. Um, he qualified for Olympic Games and he had the world at his feet. And can we say 10 years, 11 years later, he was at the feet of the world due to drug abuse as well. And unfortunately got shot 3 times and passed away. So I think also, Andre, there's many times in these areas these youngsters need positive role models, and that was always in my head that somebody needs to lead the way, somebody needs to take that step up, even if the next person tells you, oh, no man, you're stupid, are you mad, why you want to do this. Even the friends I had at that stage told me, no man, are you mad, why you still want to go to training? And that were the same guys that later on when I had my first race running on TV telling people that's my friend. So yeah.
Nothing like getting on TV to get a few more friends.
I think
How
so.
good a runner were you? How good a sportsman were you?
Okay, and so I started running from grade one back then, sub A they call it like that. But I really started when I was in high school, when I started actually winning and then becoming provincial champion. And I was provincial champion most of my years through high school. Then I went to national champs. Become Was third at nationals. I participated in 110-meter hurdles, and then as a senior, also I was the four-time Western Province senior 110-meter hurdle champs, also ranking 8 in South Africa as well. And then Antonio Alcana came and he dethroned me. But that was also in the time when I was also in the decision making of transitioning from athlete or coach. And when Antonio came along, I was just happy for this, especially, I must say it, another youngster from the colored community as well. That's really doing well. And today, Antonio is the African record holder. So who else better to come to dethrone me at that stage?
There's one obvious difference between you and Antonio, though. And that's about 3 feet in height.
Yes, yes, Antonio.
And a wonderful athlete and a great representative of our country.
Exactly.
So, talk to me a little bit. So you're brilliant at school.
Yes.
And most of it is got to do to the athletics.
That's
difficult background. And you crossed over those things. Something happened while you were at school, and when I think you were a little bit injured.
Yeah. So
you want to check that story?
So especially going up where you have all these goals and aspirations and things that you're chasing after. I was even 15 years old then when I got scholarships from university already, and putting all these pressures on me. And then basically as a youth athlete at the peak of my performance, I picked up an injury. And throughout that, my academic results also weren't what I used to, from being a 90% student to going down to 70, 60%, and all those stresses starting to build up on me. And finally, in my grade 11 year, was the first time I was smacked on, full on faced with depression. Obviously, didn't know depression at that stage, especially once again, like I said, coming from the community that I come from. What is that? What is depression? Are you stupid? Are you, yeah, understand? So it's all those funny things that people don't talk about. Just snap out of it, man. Get right. And that is also as I grew up as an adult now, and especially working with a lot of youngsters. I indoctrinate that a lot into my coaching style as well, because at the end of the day, we need to set up these young people for success. But sometimes we think we're setting them up for success, but we're not giving them all the tools that's needed to handle the success at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think one of the things that happens at school is that they'll spot up you on drugs and they'll spot up you bunking school
Yeah.
and they'll spot all these things, but do they spot it when you have depression? I
Uh,
suspect on my daughter's school, they're reasonably good at it,
yeah.
but you've actually got to put your hand up and say, I want some help.
That's correct. Andre, really what happened at that stage was is that I think everybody's so on their own. Everybody's focusing on their own goals, striving for what they want to do. And I literally, the morning when I literally broke, when I decided I was going to take my life, and um, when I normally talk about it, is that it's something that build up over time. And I think, and this is why when I said also I want to speak to people about, I want them to take out some of this is one of the tools that's in my toolkit, is to that you can identify that when you're really having a problem and it's becoming more than you at that stage. And I think it's in any working environment also that we need to admit if something is bigger than us at that stage. Don't be shy to ask for help. Don't be shy to call out for help. And that day, when I was joking, I was telling this one friend, because the liquor store was sitting just opposite the school, and next to it was just a pharmacy. And I was thinking, I was at that stage, I had being an athlete and being a scholar as well. I had a casual job as well, so I had money. And then I just realized I'm not joking anymore, that I want to take my life, and I just called my mom that day. And when I said to her, "This is what I'm about to want to do," and I just broke down emotionally. That is where I started realizing. And lucky for me, at school we had psychologists, and my parents could phone the school immediately, and they could come to the school also, and we had a couple of sessions which helped and also gave me some perspective on things as well.
Now, that's quite an important thing because I think very often if a child says these things, we don't take them too seriously. It's like, let yourself laugh.
Yeah.
Don't let me give you a hiding. Let me give you something to drive for.
That's
I
correct,
think very
Andre.
often we don't realize how real this is. Have you got any advice out there for parents? Because you know parents yourself.
Yeah.
For parents, when your child is saying those words to you, what would you suggest?
Andre, really, and I said this ever since after I had that first experience. I've always said that whenever somebody is saying, "I'm gonna take my own life," even if they're laughing while they're saying it, it's a thought that was there before they utter that words. And that is a cry out for help. And I never take it lightly. I never take it lightly when somebody tells me they don't feel, and I will make all my effort to spend time with that person, try to talk so we can get down to the root of what it really is. And if I can give advice to any parent in today's time and age, don't take it up lightly when somebody says that I don't feel like living anymore, or it's also the negative self-talking. I'm not good enough, or I don't really look that good anymore. And then the body shaming, if I can call it like that, it starts happening because you look down on yourself. And that I feel suicide really happens at the end when you feel you are nothing, and when you started saying to yourself that you are nothing. And that is where I think you're at that vital turning point in your life.
So let's talk a little bit more about you leave school and what happens then.
Yeah, so Andre, like I said, I've set up myself some high goals. So when I was in school, or when in primary school, I wanted to be a doctor, and I always wanted to work with other people and assist people, caring, because I was a very sick child when I was younger. And when I got to high school, and obviously when my brother also, he wanted to become an accountant, I never knew what an accountant is. I didn't know what an accountant is. And so somehow after the age of 10, this thing in my head started coming up that I want to become an accountant. So because there's some goals that I want to show people that you can attain these things, if you didn't achieve it. So Then when I got after my first couple of sessions and I was really doing well in sports, I decided I want to pursue a career in sports, and I went to go study sports management and coaching, which I did 4 years of, and which it's probably the best thing that I could have ever done to go and do and to pursue my passion. And then after that, I worked for a couple of companies. I was a facilitator, worked at a couple of high schools, worked at the University of the Western Cape as an assistant sport administrator as well. And then I basically decided I'm going to stop running at the age of 23 and I'm going to focus on becoming a coach. But Andre, before that, I also had, I was in a motor vehicle accident in 2007, version of 2007 side, which left me semi-paralyzed on the right hand side of my body, and I was walking with a little bit of a slap footy, if you can call it like that. And always when I talk about it, I always laugh about it and stuff. But in that moment, it started making me appreciating the small things in life, not knowing that I would be fully able-bodied again. But I was thankful that I was alive. I was thankful that I was still breathing. I was thankful that I can walk, although it's with some swagger, like I normally say. But I was walking, but I couldn't tie my own button, couldn't zip up my own pants, couldn't tie my own laces, stuff that we take for granted. Which was probably one of the learning stuff that I took out of my first experience with depression. It's about being thankful and being grateful for what you have and in that moment, and just taking it from there step by step.
And today you're one of these great conditioning coaches. I think I like to call you the speed merchant. You help people run faster. You do lots of the separate training.
Yeah.
But really, you have a secret weapon, which we're going to now reveal.
Yeah.
And that is occasionally, amongst the lucky ones of us, we meet that magical woman, that superhero who actually keeps us on the straight and the narrow. And you've met one of those.
Yeah, yeah. Andre, I would say I was fortunate to meet Renee in a very, very early stage of my life. And I think as any young couple, you go through ups and downs. And we later in our lives reunited, got back together. And she is the one person that believes in all my crazy, crazy ideas that I ever have. And if it wasn't for Renee, I wouldn't have been half the man that I am today. And because when I wanted to start my own business, fast, first as sports training, Rena was the backbone to that. She said, already you have clients, and basically we were married a year, and we had a bond to pay, we had 2 cars to pay, and she was backing me on this journey. And then there wasn't an easy journey, and the business took off really only 3 years, 4 years afterwards, really started booming from there and doing more. But like I said, Renee is the one that has been standing by me throughout. If I could take you guys back, because I know you're always talking about the six pack, is that after I got married, and stopped running and just coaching, and I think you don't have to really be physically active so much, I gained some weight. And I started training and I started seeing the six pack. And then Renee, I saw this men's health cover guy competition. And I thought, well, before I enter, let me first ask Renee about this, because I know if you make it through later on, it's you standing almost half naked and stuff like that. And when I asked her, she said, why are you still asking? Go ahead, do it. And I did it. And Andre, I think that was the springboard to my career, which later became a model and an actor as well. And because I finished up in the top 10 of the men's health cover guy competition, and that is where the modeling and acting started from as well.
Yeah, I remember I'd asked my wife as well once if I could be on the men's health cover. Yeah. And she said go for it, but I didn't get into the top 10. I think I must have been 11 or 12, somewhere around there. But I've seen lots of your modeling photographs. Yeah. And in fact, if anybody out there wants to sort of have a little cheap thrill there, just Google Alroy Dixon, click on images. As I say, all the girls in the course used to call them the eye candy, and I think you're going to be shocked at some of the amazing pictures of this young man as an athlete. But that's also led to a career in films.
Oh yeah, Andre, really, I thought, firstly, I must say, really thank you to Mortez, my modeling and acting agent. Firstly, I don't have any acting background. I don't have like a professional modeling background and stuff. Today, probably, yes, I do. But before then, I didn't have anything. She took the risk with me. She signed me up. And with my very second audition, I landed my major first TV commercial. And then that gave me the belief and hope that I can do this. And from there, I thought I was just gonna do still photos, beach body stuff, all those things. Then it landed up some more ads. Um, Bernardo came along, some other ads, and then boom, I was said, already, you are being not shortlisted even. I didn't even audition for the film, and I got a featured extra role in Samson the movie, which is an international movie by pure flicks from the USA. And went on the set, did my thing that I had to do, and I was like, wow, chuff with me seeing the movie. People, if you don't know, it's currently still on Somax. If you're in South Africa watching this, you can watch it on Somax, Samson the movie. And then after that, Andre got a role with the Furnace. Um, Luckily, Furnace is also. I'm just not marketing these movies now, but Furnace came up this week. This week, Furnace is also.
I actually saw it. It was outstanding.
Yeah,
you look so cool with your glasses, man. You look amazing.
Thank you, Andre. And that was my second international full-on movie, but my first international featured movie where my name is actually in the credits. So that was like wow for me. And playing alongside amazing actors, Jamie Bernadette from the US, and then also our very own South African Latuli Klamini, our own Mr. Morgan Freeman. Very cool guy to meet and to work with on set. And then I was fortunate, Andre, because I think a lot of people are not aware that I'm actually really I am Afrikaans. Although I find it sometimes difficult to do my interviews and stuff in Afrikaans, but I'm Afrikaans, and a movie that was also released during COVID, and it had its first big screen screening last weekend in Johannesburg, is Blowvein, where I actually had another leading acting role in Afrikaans movie also. So yes, I'm really blessed for all the opportunities that came on my way as well, and for everybody that I've been working with.
Yeah, one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize is how many of us are actually Afrikaans speaking, and we spend our entire lives speaking English.
That's correct.
And one of the things that you and I were chatting on just before we went live is saying that this kind of forum, do not be surprised as die volgende keer dat ons wil praat ons miskien 'n bietjie Afrikaans met julle mense en dan net 'n bietjie spreek. But I think there's a space for a nice Afrikaans space on the internet. It doesn't always just have to be English. So yeah, you've got it all now. You've got the six-pack, you're the modeling buff, and you're on the movies. You've got an absolutely gorgeous wife. And then she falls pregnant.
Yes, Andre, me and Renee.
Do the story.
Yeah, so, I mean, so you go through depression, you're finding yourself, you find your own worth, you find happiness. Find happiness within yourself first, because that's something that I always talk about. And that is how me and Renee found one another. And she was happy with herself, I was happy with myself. And we saw how our happiness could contribute to each other's happiness, but more, which turned into love. And in 2016, we got married in 2011 already, but in 2016 we expected our first son, Nayam, and we were really excited and nervous at the same time. I think any first newbie parents, you're excited and nervous, and you go for your checkups regularly. Everything is on point the whole time. And then the 20th of October, when we went for our final checkup, he was still moving, but they couldn't find a heartbeat, and we were referred to go to the hospital immediately. And we rushed to the hospital, and in that moment, rushing to the hospital, I can still remember putting my hand onto Rene's stomach on the car, and he was still kicking and pressing. And just when we got to the hospital, and the doctor doing the sauna, and me having a little bit of having a medical background as well, I could see what the doctor was looking at, going over the head, seeing for any circulation of blood still over the brain, and there was nothing. I could see that literally, and and the doctor checked again, and before she gave us the news, and then she said to us, which is still for me in today's time, sometimes I sit and think about it. Some days it's still probably one of the hardest words that any parent can hear, is that to hear that your child is no more. You didn't make it. So in that space also, Andre, it was I didn't know what to do. I mean, you were prepared for everything, but you weren't prepared for that at that stage. And but like I always said, there's always been a spiritual side to me as well. And I've always prayed to God and asked that my son know God, and that he be faithful to God, and that he walks in the footsteps of God and stuff like that. But in that moment, you were just broken. I didn't, and I'm talking about myself. But at that stage, looking at Rene laying on the bed at that stage, asking hysterically for the doctor to check again and check again, was for me like that was it. And I literally, that room became so small. I didn't know if I had to touch Rene, what I have to do, and I literally just walked out. My parents was there at the hospital already, and I couldn't even look them in the eye, and I just shook my head. And then they went into Rene, and yeah, and that was probably one of the toughest times for us as well. And for me, it was that throughout that, Andre, that whole week leading up to, you have to plan a funeral. I never saw Rene crying or anything like that. And she still had to give natural birth. She still had to give natural birth to him. And he was born on the morning of Sunday morning, 23rd of October. He was born at 5 to 9. And what is so, for us, also so comforting is that the name Nahum means comforter as well. And then the hymn that was sung, my sister still sent me a message that morning. The hymn that was sung that morning, also at 5 to 9, for the church service to start at 9 o'clock, was The Comforter Has Come. And that was, so for me, also a spiritual sign that he's okay. He's okay where he is. He's with God. And sometimes we as people, we ask God for certain things, and we expect a certain thing to happen. But when God answers our prayers, sometimes it's not the way that we expect it to be. But if you are spiritually strong and rooted in faith, Andre, I would believe that you accept it in that sense, and you will get the answer from that. And that is what kept me and Rene going. Because that could have literally, Andre, you don't know if you must touch your partner or whatever. That's a make or break of a relationship. And I think many relationships that people have known and not known, then you hear that they're getting a divorce, not knowing why they're getting a divorce, and then just to find out later on these things happen underground in the relationship. But for me and Rene, this brought us, it made us just more, it made us so much more. And yeah, that was our experience.
Yeah, you're not supposed to make the interviewer cry, so I'm trying my best not to cry. But I say thank you for being so vulnerable. It really is one of those stories, and I don't think everyone realizes it affects the men as much as it does the woman.
Yes, I know.
But it doesn't end on a negative note.
Definitely not.
Because you are blessed with another little boy.
Yeah.
I've seen. And everything that you've been asking for, you're getting a triple dose with that little boy.
Double.
Tell us about Zion.
Andre, Zion is a bundle of joy, a bundle of blessings, is a bundle of energy. Many times, actually today, earlier on, I put on a video where he was walking in my shoes, and I was seeing him pulling the laces, and that's why I always, when I have my phone close by, I always grab and make quick videos and stuff, because I like to capture that memories, because we never had a chance with Nahum. And then he started walking with his shoes, and as I'm recording this, and I posted it today, but that probably happened a month ago. And I just had this video on my phone, and I thought today, like, wow, especially what happened early in this week, which we'll probably speak about later on. But and he jumps off things. I always said when I have children, I will never tell them not to do something. If you fall, I tell you, but you understand why you shouldn't do it that way. But this is the way to do it. So I want them to learn by experience, Andre. And like you said, with Zion, oh, really, so much love, so much joy, and it keeps me and Rene on our toes.
I see some people are starting to look at me and say, Andre, what sort of an interviewer are you? This show is called Depression is Not Me. And all we do is talking about Alroy. But I think there's method in my madness.
That's correct.
Because Alroy, one of the things that I wanted people to see is that depression hits everybody.
Yes, correct.
And so whether you like it or not, I think you're a remarkable young man. You're very good looking. God has blessed you with enormous physical talent. You've got an amazing degree, a gorgeous wife. You're a film star and a model, and you're dealing with some of the elite athletes in the world and sometimes in South Africa.
Yeah.
And yet we have this black wolf of depression,
Yep.
which can come. And some of this stuff is due to stuff that's happened in your life, maybe your childhood. You told stories about your father, there's things about your brother, losing name. Those kind of things
Yes.
happen to all of us in life.
Correct, Andre.
But sometimes depression is that thing that's one thing a little bit better. With the loss of your son, did that trigger any of that depressive moments or episodes again? Did that come back?
Andre, many times I would say yes, but and this is why when I originally spoke to you about having this talk, depression is not me, because I was literally going through a phase of depression also when I first had this thing. But I just said to myself, I'm not. Depression is not me. It's a part of my life, and I'm gonna have to deal with it, and I'm gonna have to fight it. But the moment I'm gonna make depression become me, then I'm going to start losing the fight. Now, what I've learned, especially from the first phase, from when I went through depression as a teenager, I bounced back stronger. And that is what I want to tell people always, is because that when you feel you're on rock bottom at your current of your depression, that is it's that we either say it's the darkest before dawn breaks. And basically, when we lost Nayim also, it was like your world is turned upside down. What is happening? I'm in the eye of the storm, and everything is just. And it literally took us. Me and Rene were fortunate enough we could go away for a week, just the two of us. We went out to Neisner, where it was peaceful. Stayed on a lodge next to the lake, and it was just me and her, just spending time together, and so that we could sort of reflect on the things that happened. I couldn't, because that week went so by, Andre, that from you have to select a coffin for your child and stuff like that, so it can trigger all these things, and what kind of flowers. I don't think anybody in our lives are ever prepared for something like that, and that could have triggered some of those things. But that is what depression I've learned, man. That is why um, I mentioned in the description of this event as well, is that there's certain tools that you can use to see that I'm going down that spiral. It's like anything, like when something is going good and you're just adding some more good to it, it's gonna become good. But if you're becoming negative, it's like all this negative stuff and you're adding more negativity to it, and that is where we end up into this dark hole of depression at the end of the day. And I've personally learned the skill of my mental, just to switch up my mental and change my whole routine from what it was, because it's that small behavior or changes that is actually at the end of the day that's going to lead us to slowly crawling out of this hole, because you didn't just fall into that hole, you slowly slipped into that hole, and unfortunately slowly we have to get out as well and find our feet until we getting up there again, Andre.
Yeah, tonight is actually for me a very special night because we don't know when that monster of depression is going to hit us. And I must say, Alroy, one of the things, even my mental health has been a bit wobbly at times in the last couple of months. And the reality is that COVID has been something quite devastating. It's been devastating in
Yes.
terms of many of us are unable to practice in our careers. Many of us have taken financial loss. People have lost their jobs. Stock exchanges crashed. There's the threat of imminent death if you get the disease. And we nearly didn't do this broadcast tonight because, and if I may share this with the audience,
yes, you can.
On Tuesday, I got a panicked phone call from one of our friends, Terry, to say, please, 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 just go onto Facebook. And you were on Facebook and you were really pouring your heart out. And so the first thing that I did is I just phoned all your friends in high impact public speaking. And I said, guys, get on the internet and support this young man. And maybe let's just talk through that. First of all, this is not an embarrassment. And I think you're showing huge courage. Because this is exactly, and when we spoke about cancelling, I thought to myself, this is exactly the thing that we need to speak about. It tackles us when we're not ready, when we're unprepared. It's not something we want everybody else to see. But here, we've been exposed. So let's just talk through the process. What was actually leading up until Tuesday? And what possessed you to get onto Facebook Live, when you've got such a huge band of followers, to start sharing your story with the people?
You know, Andre, basically what happened was it was a build-up. I planned to have this event, this talk 2 months ago, that we're gonna set it out for the 31st of October, and we agreed on that, and we planned, and I was happy and I was excited, building up. I think also anxiety for this event build up as well. As you mentioned early on about COVID, and like I mentioned on Tuesday as well in my video, is that because I'm not just in fitness, I'm in health and fitness and wellness and in modeling and acting, and all those industries got shut down totally. Most of them only really got going when it got to phase one a bit. So now you have to start scratching together all the pieces and what is there left to do and how to go about. And also at the same time, also some of your clients also went through those things also. And at the end of the day, we have to be human. We have to consider all those things as well, Andre. And to be honest, I didn't have a salary for the last, we November now, probably for the last, from the start of March till now, 9 months about almost. I didn't have a salary, and I was just living off my credit and some of my savings that I had as well, and obviously not having a big contract with any institution currently. It started coming, and then this thing starts creeping up on you again. You're the man in the house, you need to provide. You took your wife out of her mother's house, and now you have little Zion also there as well, and he needs to eat, he needs to drink, he needs to have a roof over his head. And so yes, I had, I'm fortunate enough where I could have one of my, or I have some properties as I invested over time, and one of the properties were in the market since February, and it just didn't, it's not getting sold. And because you're hoping some of the property and you can actually use it again and try to initiate some new business as well. Now that business is picking up, because that is what business is about. You need to use money to make money at the end of the day, and obviously with your skill also. And Andre, what really led, so that I'm just giving a broader spectrum of what happened in a few months building up. And then Tuesday, but prior to Tuesday, it became every time when I would kiss Zion, and I would always tell him, Dad, I love you. And I see this in my video also on Tuesday as well. And I would go out to gym normally and stuff like that. But I started picking up that I don't have that earnestness to go to the gym. I don't have, I have body aches and I have pain, which I don't know comes from where. 3 weeks ago, I was booked off sick by the doctor also. Fortunately, my group of athletes I work with, they understood and they still went on with their program, which on my side again put another couple of mental stress on me, because I want to be there. I'm in a trade of trial and error. I need to see the test subjects. So how do we change things to how to make it better? And in my mind, every time I was saying to Zion that I love you. In my back of my head, it started playing every time. When is this the last time I'm going to tell him this? When is the last time that I'm telling Zion that I loves you? Yes, we lost Nayim already before. We don't know what the future holds. But the scary part for me became more and more was that what if I'm in such an irrational moment? What if I do something irrational to myself and that might cause to be the last time that I say that I love you? And Andre, going through this week after Tuesday, looking back at Tuesday, me and Zion being, because we were home alone, me and Zion were home alone, my wife went out to the shops, Rena went to the shops, and I'm thinking back, I said it to somebody yesterday, what would I have done if Zion wasn't with me at all? That is one of my questions that I'm asking myself. Um, so I was literally, I didn't have the zest to actually do work events and stuff like that. So what led, and this is what led to the video on Tuesday, and I was literally sitting with my laptop on my lap, about to start trying to work, and that was just after me sending you the video, telling you, I don't think I'm ready to do this video because I'm currently, this black dog is currently biting at my heels again, and I have to, how do I speak to people about it? And my phone was laying next to me, and I was actually busy speaking to a minister of my church as well. And then I thought to myself, because all my videos and posts that I put on social media, stuff that I was thinking about over weeks and days, that how it might have had a negative effect on me, but how did I take the positive out of that? So how can I put that message out there that somebody else that might be going through this is also find inspiration out of this message? And but Tuesday was just, I'm not going to sugarcoat everything now. There's no time to do a recording and put nice music to it and make it look nice. I'm going to come out raw, and there might be somebody that's with that, I don't know, under the messages that streamed in after that broadcast. Oh, it made me just more thankful, because I made that video. That might even be a cry out for me for help also at that stage. I don't know. But that video was because there might be somebody that don't have the support structure that I have, and don't have the tools that I have, that might have been at that very same moment, wherever they find themselves, was also thinking of ending their life. And I just felt I have to go. I did it live. There was a lot of nose blowing. There's lots of tears that was wiped. But Andre, for me, it was just about, once again in that moment, how can I positively impact somebody else's life? Because I didn't want it to become a sobby story. I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me about it. But I just wanted to be real with somebody out there that I'm also going through, because you might be looking up to me, but I'm going through depression also. And like I said in the video, just keep on fighting. And that's what
It was fascinating to see how many people rallied around you. Though it was like an injured animal, and everybody was just coming around and saying, we love you, Alroy, we're there for you," and stuff like that. And I don't know if you felt that, but it was in this public space, and it's an unusual space for everyone just to come around in public and say, "We have for you." And you've had some very positive reaction from that. Can we just firstly discuss the people that have reached out to you specifically?
Yeah.
Maybe just share. There've been one or two very special human beings, I think.
Yeah. So I must say, I want to say thank you to definitely just I would say you were the guy orchestrating everything, the Superman behind it, and then there was a couple of superwomen behind this whole thing. Then there was Linda Remke, it was Terry Winship, Dalian Swart. I know she's watching also because I saw a comment online as well, and a few others also, and they immediately reached out to me, and to my surprise, later I was still busy in the house, and then Rene asked me, "Oh, did you order some stuff online?" I'm like, "No." And then there was this big parcel being delivered, and I was really thankful for it. But it just showed that there was people out there that was really caring about me as well, not just because of the sending the stuff, but it was like you said, Andre, that messages meant so much, um, because sometimes you think, because at that stage I felt worthless. At that stage I felt I'm not enough. That's what I felt. I mean, you this Olympic coach, you've been the Commonwealth youth coach, you internationally qualified. Um, does that really mean anything? Does that mean anything for you to go ahead? Because you've been applying for contracts and you've been applying to positions, and some of the feedback is that um, surgery has been unsuccessful. And then somebody told me, perhaps you might be overqualified. I hope that might be the case. But also then it means in some areas I can still grow and learn as well, which is, I think, is really the big positive side for me as well, Andre. But some of the messages that people that was not even in under the comments of that video, where people messaged me and said, thank you, Alroy. They needed to hear that message. That message gave them hope again. And I think that is what it's about, at the end of the day, is that, and for me it is always, Andre, when I help somebody, I don't expect payment back normally. It's but that person pay it forward to another person at the end of the day, because we never know
That's
how
one of the
this,
things.
how the
That's
circles.
one of the things you made quite clear to me tonight. Is that one of the main reasons you're doing that? Because if there's one other person who the big black dog is eating alive, is to say that there are people out there. You also said, and I've got to mention Linda, who's an amazing coach.
Yes,
As
definitely.
immediately said at one or two sessions with you, you were saying how much that's helped.
So yeah, Andre, yeah. Then Linda Remke, her company logos also at the bottom. I don't know if I can pronounce it even right, even.
Evolve.
Evolve, okay. So evolve, because this is the different colors. So, but really, guys, and Andre, Linda called me, and somehow it's probably been a blessing. She had a space open on the Wednesday, and she said to me, "Would I be able to come and see her?" And I took that opportunity, and I said to her, "Yes, I'm coming." Because also, Andre, why I said, and this is what I told her as well, is that I knew I had to break my normal cycle of things, that what I was going into that stage of. You just want to sit at home, you just want to lay in bed, you're watching Netflix, you're not even doing research on what I normally do. And just the first session with her already gave me some perspective and opened up my eyes and towards my values, the value system that I already put in place. But sometimes you forget about these things. And fortunate for me, the next day she had another space open for me, and she booked me again for it. Actually, the morning, which would be another hour session that turned into a 2 hour session. So I'm really grateful for Linda coming on board and being part of my journey and helping me um, finding myself again, if I can say it like that. And it has been awesome. So, but what I also want to say is that what I told you. Now, come and say what happened after Tuesday. So, and I told this to Linda, because so on Wednesday I went to go see Linda, and so now our session was about at 1 o'clock side. So we finished at 2 o'clock, and normally I start coaching with my athletes around about from 5 o'clock side in the afternoon. And I decided that instead of coming home again and then try to sit and work on my laptop and not really giving much attention to Zion, so it's not going to be fair to him either. So I said, okay, I'm going to go to gym now. And then I went to gym. And the smallest thing, and this is while I'm on the I got on the treadmill. Normally I'll do some of my cardio, do some weight training and all those things. But I was on the treadmill, and I always just walk on a slight incline on the treadmill. But that day, I started walking for 5 minutes. And then I said to myself, for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to start jogging. And then I start jogging. And then, Andre, I find myself not sprinting, but much more faster running for 20 minutes. And I was increasing the pace, but I'm not getting tired, I'm not getting tired. And it's like I'm putting this energy, that this ball of negative energy, into a positive, and using it into my fitness, and pushing, because I want to push my barriers now again, pushing this fitness barrier. And I'm sweating and I'm getting done. And I said to myself, okay, cool, I'm gonna be done, and I'm still gonna be an hour and a half earlier done before I have to start my athletes. But I'm gonna go to the track a bit earlier because I had some time. And I went to the track and said to myself, I'm gonna run some 5 stairs. So those people that know Belleville Athletic Stadium has this big pavilion with the stairs going up. And I told myself,
Huge.
yeah,
Huge
it's
stairs.
huge stairs. So I told myself, I'm gonna run the stairs. I'm gonna give myself to 10, but at an even pace. I'm not gonna chase it. It's just about completing the 10. That is the focus for me. And Andre, I started running those stairs, and I was listening to some music, and I got a phone call from one of my buddies also from school, from high school, from me. And as we are talking, I start running. As I'm talking on the phone with him, I start running the stairs and running. And I'm continuing. At the end of the day, I did 15 stairs up and down. Then the next thing, and this is the thing, Andre, that for me, that's what I'm saying, it was the small things. And once again, celebrating the small victories the whole time was giving me the courage. That's why we're sitting here today doing this interview, and me probably looking the state from what I look now into what I looked on Tuesday, my two worlds apart emotionally. And the next thing, so I'm down the stairs, my athletes are there, busy, start warming up. There's other athletes, there's coaches and stuff. And the next thing I did was, it was hot on Tuesday, on Wednesday. I took off my t-shirt. As I'm taking off this t-shirt, I'm telling myself, I know I'm not in the best shape of my life. That like people would see me beach body ready and or ready for the shoot, lean and all those things. But I'm doing this for me. And for me it was, and then I went to go jog on the grass embankment for another 15 minutes. And as I started jogging, my athletes started clapping hands. And that was just like, and they were like, yes, go, coach, and clapping hands. And it was like, and then it came back to me, Andre, that I am enough. That is what it is. It doesn't matter how you look, it doesn't matter what you're going through. You will always be enough as long as you're going to keep on the good fight, if I can say it like that. And that was my small triumphs over Tuesday, when I was feeling like I was at rock bottom in the pit. And then yesterday, once again, meeting up with some of my business partners, some people who have seen it on my social media, with some new ventures happening as well. And we will be from new offices out in Belleville as well. And it's just, it's once again, I believe God have a hand in it as well. But also, like I said, once again, with everybody in it. And if I can mention that partners also, their name is also on here, Physical Health, which is a sports medical doctors as well that have been partners with me for the past year and a half already. And we're gonna up things a bit more in the sporting environment also, and bringing in more sports psychology.
And this Black Cat company that you work in, is that Black Cat?
Yeah, no, this is a Puma. So yeah, you mentioned, we spoke about it earlier on, that I'm an actor, I'm a model, I'm a coach, international coach, all those things, and a speaker. But I'm also a brand ambassador also, and I've been for USN. I've been a brand ambassador for 5 years now already, and I've really enjoyed the journey so far. And me and Puma having a relationship and a business relationship as well for the past 3 years also. But once again, Andre, picking up from what me and Linda spoke about is, and this is what I've always said to people when they join up with companies and becoming a brand ambassador is, make sure your values and that company that you're aligning with, values align with, is aligned with one another. And that is what I picked up. That is why I love working with the brands I do work with as well. Just from the owner, from USN Albi, is an awesome, amazing guy. And having his values also set out and running that through the company. And that is why I feel that has been working for us. And then obviously Puma doing their things also and trying to change the world, one shoe at a time, if I can call it like that. They will also be launching new things. I was fortunate enough to be on the set of the new shoot for Puma. I was the movement coach on set that day.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so yeah, do lots of things. So basically, they will be launching the new things in March. Those things will be dropping. So that's why I didn't post any of those footage from that shoot.
Alroy, you and I can love chatting, and it's got 4 minutes left. I just want to finish with a few things.
Here we go.
I want to say, and these are lessons that you've given to me tonight. So if I've read them right, please let me know. The first one is when that black dog is eating you alive, look for help. Stand up, open your mouth. If you're standing stock still, Alian, in your house and it's the middle of COVID, get onto the internet and ask for help. The reality is that we all have people who love us and want to get around us. The second thing is, I'd like to say is that you need to look for professional help. That those sessions that Linda is giving you is physically changing you.
That's great.
I also want to suggest is that even in that day, you said you were quite embarrassed. It was after that day, you still went that night to teach the athletes, and you were praying that they hadn't seen this happen. Because the 1 minute you wanted to take yourself out, and 3 or 4 hours later you're teaching the athletes, but you needed to carry on with your life. Are those good things that we need to do? Are those some of the things? And then obviously surrounding yourself with people that love you.
That's correct, Andre, and I think you hit the nail on the head with all those things that you mentioned there as well. And and like I said, also very importantly, also having that spiritual connection also, and like you said, getting out there, talk to people, and that's why I say when we start this conversation, when any parent or any individual hear another individual saying, ah, I kill myself, or ik vat so my, ek maak so myself dood, like they normally would say, then don't take that lightly. That is their cry out. That is their, if I can call it, Facebook live video, what I did on Tuesday. So, and for if you are suffering with depression also, if you are going through, if you experiencing this early stages, don't feel scared to reach out. Andre, you touched on it now. I was almost, I used another word now, but I was scared because after that talk, I was like, oh my word. I opened up myself. I was vulnerable. And I thought, I must still go to the track. Some of my athletes might have watched it. And I asked them, and when I look at their responses and stuff like that, they were looking, oh no, they don't know what video I'm talking about. I said, okay, no, cool. If you didn't watch the video, just remember, you guys are contributing positively towards my life. That's what I said to those guys at that stage. And then I had to go to the gym still that night again. This is before I went to go see Linda, and I was still like, some people probably watched this video. And you know what, Andre? The response that I got when I walked in, somebody, it was probably 5 people, 5 guys that told me, don't worry, you are loved. Don't worry, God have you. And I was like, then I just laughed and I said, you watched the video? And then they're like, yes. And I said, thank you. And it means a lot. But it's about accepting, I think, once owning your vulnerability. And because it doesn't mean being vulnerable belittling you, but it's about, like I always say, it's taking responsibility for your responsibilities at the end of the day, Andre.
I think strong men are not frightened of being vulnerable.
That's correct.
It's only little people that are afraid of being vulnerable. One of the things that I do want to just finish off with and say is that originally we were going to charge for this event. I think it was one of Alroy's ideas to make some money for him and his family. And he's the one who's cancelled all of that, by the way. So he has said that he would like this to be a free event. I suspect that Alroy, I don't think he wants a handout, if I know Alroy. And so I'm just saying is that one of the things I'd love to encourage you is that if you know of schools, if you know of organizations, churches, get-togethers, anybody who needs a presentation about depression and what you can do, I think that you, Alroy, would probably prefer that more. And the opportunity, and there's always a chance that you can pay him for those presentations. He is a professional speaker. How do you feel about that, Alroy? Speaking on your behalf.
Definitely, Andre. Like I've always been, like that's why I said to somebody yesterday. So that's what hurt is like, because I never like asking anybody for anything. Because I'm so used to working for whatever I wanted. So I would gladly, if I can get paid to do a talk somewhere, I will do that. You understand? But I wouldn't want any handouts just to people to. So you can go along and stuff like that. So
man wants a handout.
Exactly. So, and that is why. So they're willing. They can book us. They can book us through to you, also to our HIPS group as well. They can get our contact over there, or they can make contact with me directly, or on social media. We will direct them with all those things. But yeah, I just felt, Andre, after Tuesday's video, that a lot of people have to. There's so much people out there that have to hear this. And I think there's nothing more than money in this world to me than when you can save a life, because that is what I experienced when I lost Nayam. That was one of the thoughts that went through my head. because I had heaps of savings up that time. And on our way to hospital, that was one of my thoughts. It was that whatever is happening now, and whatever God decided, if it's so, which have been the case, money won't change anything in that situation. And that's why I say, so if this talk can help one person out there and change their life for the better, then that is more than enough for me, Andre.
Fantastic. Alroy, thank you. Bless you, my friend. We're going to shut off any second now.
There we go.
What I'd like to do is that if you would like to show how you feel about the presentation, this thing is obviously most of you are watching it on Facebook. So let's flood him with a couple of hearts, let him know how much he is loved. There are lots of comments and things that I can maybe just go through. Rincha, hello from the garden route. What else have we got here? Terry Winship, she's saying the sounds all good. Molly, hello, Alroy, Dillian Swart is on here. She's obviously sending love. That woman's an angel. I love it. Who else have we got here? Glennis. Glennis is respecting you and the love that you have for. Woo, you must turn it on there and see all the hearts that are flying up here.
I'm seeing it.
But as many hearts as I'm going to sleep from my wife. Goodness. En dan Dillian Swart sê, is voor in die koor. Vir Afrikaanse forum gesprek. And Terry's desperately pleading for English. Terry, Tanya Botma, a wonderful young lady, double lung transplant survivor. Amen, Alroy. What a story so far. Dalian says the video of your son with the shoes was funny. Who else have we got here? Stephen Prince. I personally admire him for opening up, but there's also motivation for younger people, which direction to plan their lives, but above all, to let God be part of your plans. Well done, Alroy. Keep your head up high, trust in God. Juliana's trying to make a date there. I think she was saying if you're in Belleville every day. Marcelo Pinar says you're the strongest man that he knows.
Thank you very much.
This video will remain up not only on Alroy's pages, but on my pages. So I can't see the questions on my pages until this moment, Alroy. But I'm pretty sure we can maybe arrange another thing a little bit later on.
Definitely.
So to all of you out there, if that big black wolf is tickling you and biting at your ankles, just remember there is help. There are amazing people like Alroy here. And I just want to say, Alroy, you remain an inspiration to me. And I hope that this leads to even bigger and better things for you.
Thank you very much, Andre. So, yeah, what I'm going to say thank you for everybody that tuned in tonight for this live event. And you mentioned it earlier on about the Afrikaans thing. There's something I mentioned earlier to Andre with me and another young Afrikaans actor fitness guy as well working on. So we have to keep on working. We have to keep on pushing. Sometimes these things scare a person, Andre, but we have to keep doing what we have to do. So and I think Andre, I will play them out again with that little video for those that came in late, so they can see the video of the six-pack and of everything that I basically do, from a coach to modeling to acting, just to give them a glimpse, and then we will be signing off after that.
Fantastic. I just wanted to ask you one question. I'd love you to go ask your parents if you and I aren't potentially brothers, because you know, when I look at our physiques, it's so familiar. And when we're talking about that running up and down the stairs while you're on the phone, that's exactly what I do in the afternoons. I find the tallest stairs I can, I run up and down. I think like you and I are soul brothers. I'm just the paler version of that. My friend, bless you, and we're looking forward to having you on one of these stages again soon. Good night, everyone. God bless. We'll be playing the video and we'll be signing out after. Thank you.
There you go.